Good evening, it's Saturday the 20th of November and it's just past 6 o'clock, and welcome to our news programme. And as you can see, I'm back in a proper studio this week, and actually I'm in a new studio and hopefully everything is working fine. So we finally got things set up and we're back on track. So starting this week with the headlines. In the news this week, Public Health Dorset reports that after a short period of declining case rates, we've seen case rises again over the past week across Dorset in terms of COVID-19. Both the Dorset Council and the Bournemouth, Christchurch and Poole Council areas remain significantly above the national average case rate and well above the regional average in the southwest. Cases remain highest among school-aged children, but we're also seeing high rates in middle and older age groups. The number of people in hospital with COVID-19 across Dorset has also continued to rise. As we move into the colder months and the Christmas period, everyone must remember that the risks from COVID-19 have not gone away. If you're going to an event or gathering with lots of people or in an enclosed space, take a lateral flow test before you go to reduce the risk of passing COVID-19 on to other people. When meeting indoors, open windows regularly to let fresh air in and prevent airborne spread of virus. The real key message from public health is although we know that people who have been vaccinated can still catch and spread COVID-19, vaccination is still the best way to protect yourself from serious illness. We can see that the data, as in previous waves, we saw much higher hospitalisations and death rates at similar times in the cycle. So there we go, the message there. Get vaccinated if you're not, and make sure you get the booster if it's offered. Antisocial behaviour remains an ongoing concern for both local councils and the police. Dorset Council has launched a public consultation asking residents for their views on 8 proposed public protection orders. The proposals include changes to existing public protection orders which currently cover West Dorset and Weymouth and Portland areas, but are due to expire next year. The new orders are set at town level for Weymouth, Portland, Dorchester, Bridport, West Bay and Lyme Regis, and aim to renew and introduce new powers that can be used by the council and partners to address antisocial behaviour. In all 6 towns, a dispersal order is being proposed, which would mean that people engaged in antisocial behaviour could be fined if they fail to move on when asked. The new plan for Weymouth suggests small amendments to the existing restrictions for cycling on the promenade and extending measures around alcohol consumption to more areas of the town. A gating order would also see gates installed to restrict access to Trinity Passage, the area which runs parallel to the main public footpath along North Quay and Trinity Road and has been subject to antisocial behaviour which impacts on residents and the use of Holy Trinity Church there by the bridge. The council are also asking for views from the public on 2 new public protection orders which intend to help tackle issues arising from camping on beaches and would introduce new measures to help prevent wildfires as well. The proposals would restrict camping on beaches in several locations, including Chesil Beach, Weymouth Beach and at Lulworth. The order has been suggested in response to the rising number of people camping on beaches during summer months in both 2020 and 2021. And this led to a significant increase in nuisance complaints, damage to property, accumulation of rubbish and human waste, and destruction of natural habitat. The consultation runs from now until the 13th of January 2022, and surveys for each of those public protection orders can be found on the Dorset Council website at dorsetcouncil.gov.uk/PSPO-consultation. That's dorsetcouncil.gov.uk/PSPO-consultation. So if that's something that concerns you, do pop along to the website and let your comments be known, because then the council will know the depth of public feeling. Dorset and Somerset Air Ambulance are in the news this week again and are delighted to announce that it has been shortlisted in not one, not two, but 5 categories at this year's Air Ambulance UK Awards of Excellence. The prestigious awards, which are sponsored by the BMW Group, recognise the professionalism, excellence and dedication of the air ambulance community across the UK. The independent judging panel includes trauma specialist Professor Karen Broey, Deborah Elcock-Tyler, who's the Chief Executive of Directory of Social Change, and Steve Irvin, the Executive Officer of the Association of Ambulance Chief Executives. They agreed with the award nominations were of exceptionally high standard, and they were faced with some very difficult decisions when deciding on the shortlist this year. Dorset and Somerset Ambulance's patient and family liaison nurses Jo Petheram and Kirsty Caswell have been shortlisted in the Practitioner of the Year category for exceptional clinical and professional duty. Both are critical care practitioners who together have created, developed and delivered Dorset and Somerset Air Ambulance Patient and Family Liaison Service. Despite the COVID-19 pandemic, their work has not stopped. In fact, development of their service has continued at pace, and they now reach more than 500 patients per year. Jo and Kirsty are two incredibly inspiring women who have both made an enormous contribution to improving patient pathways during the last 18 months. Dr. Phil Hyde, who's the medical lead for Dorset and Somerset Air Ambulance, has been shortlisted in Doctor of the Year category. A collaboration between Dorset and Somerset Air Ambulance and the Wales and West Acute Transport for Children Service, Bristol Children's Hospital Trauma Team and the Southampton Oxford Retrieval Team has been shortlisted in the Innovation of the Year category. The collaboration has led to an expansion in advocacy for children, enabling helicopter emergency medical service teams to formally support time-critical paediatric inter-hospital transport in the South West region. And an incident which sees Dorset Somerset Air Ambulance become a finalist in the Special Incident of the Year category took place in May last year, during the height of the COVID-19 pandemic. The incident demonstrated an astonishing chain of care in order to achieve a wonderful outcome for a patient who suffered a cardiac arrest while cycling along a disused railway line. It also demonstrated excellent multi-agency working and collaboration between the police, fire, ambulance service and Dorset and Somerset Air Ambulance. Finally, the whole charity team at Dorset and Somerset Air Ambulance have been shortlisted in the Charity Team of the Year category. That's absolutely fantastic to hear that our local air ambulance service has been nominated in 5 categories in this year's UK Air Ambulance Awards. They have a very small team of dedicated staff and they continue to work hard during the COVID-19 pandemic with dedication, commitment and diversity and everything that they've managed to keep going to service us when things are at their utmost need. So we wish them well in their awards, which will be announced, the winners will be announced on Friday the 3rd of December. Of course, if you'd like to support Dorset and Somerset Air Ambulance in any way with a donation or to take part in their regular lottery, go along to their website at www.dsairambulance.org.uk. Back to councils again. Dorset and Bournemouth Christchurch and Poole councils are teaming up with a host of organisations for the Carers Dorset Festival on Thursday the 25th of November, which is also National Carers Rights Day. The first ever festival for Dorset carers will offer information, tips and support for unpaid carers. A series of free bite-sized information events and inspirational talks for unpaid carers will be held across Dorset and can also be accessed online. There will also be 2 face-to-face events. One will be held at Dorset Museum in Dorchester, featuring a talk by Radio 2's Johnny Walker and his wife Tiggy, who are co-patrons of Carers UK, and one at the Kinston Community Centre in Bournemouth. The festival aims to celebrate and support unpaid carers, bringing them together with organisations across Dorset to help them find out how to get the help and support they're entitled to. Carers who book onto the face-to-face events will also receive a goodie bag. That's while stocks last, it says in brackets, provided by the Leonardo Trust, an independent charity to help people in the county who care for sick or disabled relatives. Believe it or not, there are an estimated 80,000, yes, 80,000 unpaid carers in Dorset, all providing help and support to someone who could not manage without them. from personal care to providing practical support and things like shopping. There is no typical carer in the Dorset Council area. Carers can be old, young, a spouse, a partner, a child, a grandchild, a sibling, or a friend or a neighbour. A carer can work in a full-time job and can also be caring 24/7 for somebody. So to find out more about the sessions and to book your free place, and don't forget that free goodie bag if you're lucky, visit www.dorsetcouncil.gov.uk/carers-dorset-festival. So that's www.dorsetcouncil.gov.uk/carers-dorset-festival. Now, we've mentioned these many times before, but if you need help to get online, to book a place on these events or to attend them virtually, or find out any information, don't forget we've got the Dorset Digital Champions are there to help you. They do work from many of the local libraries across the county, and they do have a hotline 01305 221 048, and they can help you get online or help you with a computer or an iPad or smartphone problems to enable you to access some of those online services, because these days many people and many organisations are just providing services online because it's obviously an easier way to provide and for people to access services. So moving on, let's turn that one off. We've got Dorset Police now. Dorset Police and a few bits from Dorset Police this week are asking for your help. They received a report at 6:53 on Monday the 15th of November of a collision involving a cyclist and a black Ford Focus on the A354 Portland Beach Road. The cyclist, a local man aged in his 30s, sustained serious injuries and was sadly pronounced dead at the scene. The driver of the Ford, a woman aged in her 40s from Portland, was arrested on suspicion of driving offence and is currently assisting officers with their inquiries. The police now understand that the cyclist was involved in an earlier collision with another cyclist shortly before this incident, and would urge anyone who's got any information about the fatal collision, the earlier collision with another cyclist, to get in touch. As usual these days, they're particularly interested in anybody that's got dash cam footage from a video camera in the front of their car. So do bear that in mind if you were there that day and may have some footage. Staying with Dorset Police, they are looking into an incident with a member of the public who got bitten by a dog. A local man in his 60s was walking with his wife and their two dogs when they spotted a husky cross in a neighbouring field. It was reported, and this, I should say, this is in the Littlemore and Bingham area, around 11:30 on Saturday the 9th of October. The image on the screen is an image of a man who is wanted in connection with this event. So the victim was a local man in his 60s. He was walking with his wife and two dogs when they spotted a husky cross. It was reported that the husky cross, which is believed to be crossed with an Akita, then rushed up behind them and approached one of their dogs. The victim intervened and was bitten while trying to separate the dogs. He sustained an injury to his hand that required medical treatment. When the offending dog owner came over and asked what happened, it was reported he subsequently became verbally abusive towards the victim and his wife. So just a reminder, this is in a field in the area of Littlemore and Bingham at around 11:30 on Saturday the 9th of October. And if you were around at that time in that place, or the picture on screen reminds you of anybody, then Dorset Police would like to know. And as usual, you can contact them on 101, or if you wish to do it anonymously via the Independent Crime Stoppers charity on 0800 555 111. Now, also staying with Dorset Police, some good news here. Two men caught dealing drugs in Weymouth have now been jailed. Karan Patel, aged 26, and Grantley Woodall, aged 23, who you can see both on the screen, both from Bournemouth, were sentenced in Bournemouth Crown Court on Thursday this week. Patel was sentenced to 6 years in prison and Woodall received a 2-year jail sentence. A third man involved in the same drug supply offences, a 27-year-old Maxence Pierre Bonte, failed to appear in court when required and is currently wanted by police. They believe he may have left the country, but if you know anything about his whereabouts, or you see him, if you know him, don't approach him, and do please call Dorset Police, who will no doubt be pleased to hear. Moving on, a fundraising variety show to raise cash for local community groups and good causes has been given the green light to return this year after it was cancelled last year due to the COVID pandemic. Weymouth and Portland Lions Club annual variety show is set to take place on Tuesday, November the 30th at Weymouth Pavilion with curtains up at 7:30 p.m. The acts this year include Let's Dance, Tamara Constantine, Wessex Musical Theatre, Decadettes, Anna Norman, White Ukadelics and Replay, and featuring special guest star Ben Waters. Lions Club President Kevin Brooks said, after a very difficult year, it's a great relief that we're finally able to get back doing what we all love to do as Lions, and that is serving people. At the end of the day, we are all just ordinary people doing amazing things. Lion Club show chairman Norman Stagles said, this year's lineup is as strong as ever. As a club, we are grateful to all the artists, performers, singers and dancers for giving their time for free for the benefit of their community. So thank you to all of them from us as well. Tickets are priced at £5 each. They're available from the Pavilion Theatre box office or the Pavilion website, and we will be giving you those details later in our What's On section. There will be Lions collecting after the show, and all monies raised will be used by the Lions Club for the benefit of local community and Lions supported charities and appeals worldwide. So a very worthy cause there, and actually a very good show. I've been to that and taken people to that a few times over the years. So that is on the 30th of November. Look at the Pavilion website for information on that one. A community shop in Weymouth, launched to help people with limited income, is celebrating its first anniversary. The Nest, located at the Waverley Community Hub in Abbotsbury Road, opened its doors last November and has been supporting over 300 people, with 90 people each week regularly using their service. The Nest offers free bread, fruit and vegetables and other food stuff, and things like deodorants and hygiene products at low cost. The shop also runs a cafe and is open 10 till 2 Tuesdays, Thursdays and Saturdays. Anyone who wants to access the community shop must become a member, which is free to do, and you can do that by going to the Nest Facebook page. So just go onto Facebook, search for the Nest Weymouth, and you'll be able to join. And if you need help there and things are not too good for you at the moment, the Nest will be able to help you with some low cost food. It's not free like a food bank, it's sort of the next step up, so you're not paying full shop prices, but it is definitely a help for people who are struggling. Dorset Wildlife Trust is asking the Dorset public to help protect red squirrels as one of a number of species that are in decline. They are doing this by offering red squirrel adoption packs as a great idea for Christmas. And in the adoption pack, it includes a squirrel soft toy, a certificate, photographs, and an update on the squirrel project at Brainsea Island, which is a sanctuary for red squirrels. If squirrels aren't your thing, they are also offering adoption packs for seahorses and barn owls as well. So if you're looking for something different to give this Christmas as a present to somebody who you can't come up with any ideas for, and you think they might be interested in red squirrels, seahorses or barn owls, then I think this is an ideal, nice present for them for Christmas. And there's plenty of time to order them, and they will aim to make sure they are out in time for Christmas. So pop along to the Dorset Wildlife Trust website at dorsetwildlifetrust.org.uk. And finally, in the headlines tonight, last Sunday's Weymouth Farmers and Makers Market was the biggest yet, when 4 organisations got together to give local Dorset food producers and craftspeople the chance to sell their work in Weymouth as a part of the economic recovery. Best in Dorset and Weymouth Area Development Trust were joined this time by Dorset Food and Drink with the support of government's Welcome Back Fund. Market organiser Alison Calder said, after 18 months of lockdowns and uncertainty, it was fantastic to turn out. It was a fantastic turnout from the traders, and we had some lovely feedback from residents. The Dorset Rock Choir were brilliant and added to the atmosphere. We hope to see many of the traders return with their stalls on December the 12th for the last market before Christmas. So an ideal time to go out and see what's on offer for Christmas. That's December the 12th, the Weymouth Farmers and Makers Market. So it's farmers' products and crafts and things that people have made. The Weymouth Farmers and Makers Market was brought to the town after a successful campaign led by the community group Weymouth Area Development Trust and other town organisations, including Weymouth Town Council and the Weymouth Bid. So 12th of December, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. And that's the last of our headlines this week. Now, with Remembrance being very much in our mind after the Remembrance events of last week, both on Remembrance Day itself and Remembrance Sunday, wreaths from across Great Western Railway network were carried to London on Remembrance Day, the 11th of November, in an event called Poppies to Paddington. Swathes of poppy wreaths were placed on Great Western Railway trains and carried to London Paddington Station on Remembrance Day. The special Poppies to Paddington operation involved train services from across the region and more than 60 stations covering the length and breadth of the Great Western Railway network. Veterans and volunteers placed wreaths on board early in the morning on services heading to the capital on November the 11th. Poppies to Paddington was created by the Veterans Charity with the fabulous support of GWR, Great Western Railway. And it was their way of helping communities ensure our fallen heroes were remembered despite the restrictions that were in place in the depths of the COVID-19 pandemic. The first of the Poppies to Paddington services started from Penzance before 5 a.m. in the morning, and other services left from across the Great Western region. Now, thanks to Dan Paynes, Head of Communications from Great Western Railway, we're able to share some of this year's event with you now.
Welcome everybody to this service of remembrance at Paddington Station. It is good, is it not, to be able once more to gather in person for this act of remembrance. At the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, the guns fell silent on the Western Front to bring to an end the First World War.
There we go. What a fantastic way to get wreaths from across the region to London on Remembrance Day. And thank you to Dan and everyone at Great Western Railway for a touching way for many people to mark remembrance at this time. Our second feature this week comes from our regular contributor, Janet Hall. And this week, Janet's going to be looking at a couple of books. And maybe as we're in the run-up to Christmas and you're thinking what to buy people for Christmas, and I always struggle with that, I'm sure a lot of you do as well, that maybe a book is a good present to buy, and maybe these books that Janet's reviewing this week might be of interest to somebody you know.
Hello. Do you find the run-up to Christmas just a little bit stressful? If so, I have two books which might help you calm things down a bit during Advent. The first of these is Moreville House by Catherine Swift, which is our book group choice this month. Now, if you usually choose a book because of its gripping storyline and fast-moving plot, this month's book may come as a surprise. It isn't there to excite you so much as to calm you down and help you get back into tune with the rhythm of the created world. It's the story of how the writer Catherine Swift remade the garden at Morville Hall in Shropshire. Even if gardening isn't your main interest, you will find wonders in this book because she writes so beautifully. In an allusion to the monastic past of the house and grounds, the structure of the book is based on the hours of the divine office, the daily rhythm of worship followed by monks, starting with vigils and ending with compline. This rhythm has a very calming effect on the reader, who can set aside the busyness of the day and relax into a calmer way of living. It guides us through the days and the seasons in Swift's garden. But she also takes us through the history of the house and grounds and also through the past of Shropshire, the locals, and a lot about her family. There are memories of childhood and her difficult relationship with her parents, but there's also a lot of light-hearted detail. Unlike many of you, I am not a great gardener, but I do love gardens, and this book conjures up the peace and the rhythm of the garden as it changes through the seasons of the year. A very good read indeed. The second book is my choice, and incidentally the Archbishop of York's choice, as an Advent read. It is written by Robin Wrigley Carr and is a series of meditations for Advent from the work of Evelyn Underhill. She was a beloved spiritual writer who believed that God doesn't just come to us at special times, but is always coming to us. How do we recognize his coming and make ourselves open to him? In this book, Robin Wrigley Carr shares a series of meditations and explores the nature of God's coming. It skillfully weaves together Underhill's writings with psalms and short prayers. It will help you find space to deepen your relationship with God, but more than ever, it will help you to understand how you fit in to God's creation. At the end of each chapter, there are discussion questions to help you get deeper into the subject. If you do want to read it, it might be nice if a group of us got together to discuss it over Advent. So if you were interested, please let me know. And don't forget, we have our fellowship book group on January the 4th in All Saints Church at 2:00, when we will be discussing Morville House. In between, have a peaceful Advent and a good read. Bye for now.
There we go, a couple of books there from Janet, one quite spiritual and sort of reflective in the Advent period, and one a little bit different. Maybe they're for you, maybe they're not, but of course, do let us know any books you've read as well. We'd be happy to hear about books you've read. Now, our final feature this evening is about children and young people services from the local authority. Children's services at Dorset Council have been judged as good following an inspection of local authority children's service by Ofsted in September. Now, that's a marked change because last time they were inspected, things weren't quite so good. The report published on the 19th of November by Ofsted confirms the overall effectiveness of Dorset Council's children's services are of good quality and are continuing to improve, and that the council has delivered an impressive pace and effectiveness of change. And of course, all of that in the context of a pandemic and as well a local government reorganisation with all those councils coming together under one organisation. So quite a challenge for them, but it looks like they've managed to do it. Inspectors also noted that the council has proven determination to give every child in Dorset a brighter future, and that the senior leaders have taken the challenges presented by the pandemic as an opportunity to engage partners more firmly in the wider safeguarding agenda and in the vision of making Dorset the best place it can be for children to thrive. Now we're going to hear from Dorset Council about the Ofsted report and how they have improved their services.
We have had the most fantastic news from Ofsted. They have rated our children's services as good, and that is a very significant piece of news for us.
It's such an important outcome for our staff. It is such an important acknowledgement.
The journey for Dorset Council, of course, it starts in the roots of the old Dorset County Council organisation back in sort of 2015-16. And for a host of reasons, children's services was in a really challenging place. And the outcome at the time from Ofsted was it required improvement.
There were too many cases, too many children who weren't getting the right service that they needed at the right time. So we knew we needed to firstly support the staff that we had, recruit further and recruit really talented people, and we needed to make sure that as we were working with our families, we were doing that in a strong relationship base.
We have worked incredibly hard to get us to where we are today, but it's not the end of the story. There is a journey that will continue. We continue to be ambitious for our children and young people.
What we've seen is a fantastic investment, 45 million for children with special educational needs and disabilities school places. St Mary's we all know about and are very, very proud to be part of that. But also other building processes for Beaufort, for Westfield, for others.
We want to see things like the Harbour project in Weymouth actually open its doors so that we have those new care facilities for children and young people in our care, and we're also going to go on to that with our care leaver facilities, which will also be in Weymouth, which will deliver what we want every young person to experience, which is a settled adulthood.
One of the statements that I'm most proud of in the report is that good work is expected, delivered and celebrated. And I think for me, I'll take that. Anything else is just extra. We absolutely want to be a learning organisation. We want to say sorry when we've got it wrong. We had to do that a lot in the past. We still need to do it sometimes today. I'm incredibly grateful to my staff. I'm incredibly grateful to all of our partners. And I am pleased that our communities can feel assured that we know what we're doing and we know what we need to do more of. And we look forward to, with them, being really ambitious for their children and their families.
So there we go. Good news from Children's Services. Oh, and it looks like the studio light's gone off. I almost got to the end without a technical issue, but it looks like we failed on the light in front. So I apologise if I'm a little bit darker than I should be. Yeah, good news there from Children's Services from Dorset Council. Much improved from their last inspection. Still, though, appreciating that there's still things to do. And that's always a good position to be in, to realise that things can always be improved. So thank you to Councillor Andrew Parry and to Teresa Levy for updating us. And if you want to read the full Ofsted report on Children's Services, if you pop along to the Ofsted website at www.ofsted.gov.uk, you'll find it there and be able to read all the detail of the inspection. Now it's that time in the programme where we look at the weather, and first of all we go to the national weather forecast, and this week we're joined by Aidan McGivern from the Met Office.
Hello and welcome to the latest forecast from the Met Office. Not much use out of the big coat in my case so far this autumn, but I might need to dig it out for later this weekend. It's not going to be particularly cold, but it will be a marked contrast compared to the very mild weather we've seen recently. A mild start this weekend, then it turns colder with temperatures heading back towards average across central parts. So for Northern England, North Wales, late afternoon, early evening, some damp weather. But as that weather front sinks south, it is petering out, so really it's just patchy rain on it. The more significant result of the weather front is its clearance southwards and its introduction of much colder air. And so fairly widely, Wales northwards, temperatures into the low single figures by Sunday morning, a touch of frost in places, particularly out of the breeze. The weather front then clearing into the near continent, and we're all into that colder but brighter weather for Sunday itself. The air coming from the north, but it's not desperately cold at this stage. And for many parts, it's a bright start to Sunday, and although there'll be well, a colder feel to things, especially in that wind in the north and the east, as well as some showers, especially for Wales, southwest England, eastern England, northern and eastern Scotland, Northern Ireland. There will also be plenty of bright weather and out of the wind with some sunshine, western Scotland, northwest England, feeling very pleasant indeed. High pressure then builds in, milder for a time later Monday and into Tuesday and Wednesday, but watch what happens next. Later Wednesday, another northerly plunge, this one looking more potent, likely to bring colder weather later next week with some wintry stuff mixed in as well. We'll keep you updated on that, of course, and you can find those updates on social media. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, Aidan there. And looking at this week's local weather, you can see some results of that rain front there for Sunday. It's going to be colder, as Aidan said, but not too bad, I think, here down on the south coast, probably down to about 8 or 9 degrees most days. And dry for most of the week with sunny spells, and Monday looking a particularly nice day if you're wanting to go out and want a fresh, summery winter day. So there we go, that's the weather. Now we're moving to traffic and travel. And this week, firstly, the planned roadworks. BT Openreach working in Parkmead Road in White Regis. Wessex Water still working in Newstead Road, which remains closed until the 2nd of December completely. Also working in Sudan Road and Southlands Road, and Hammond Avenue and Bewley Walk in Southhill. SGN, Southern Gas Networks, are working in Weymouth Bay Avenue, and there's also some roadworks happening on the Swannery Bridge to do with Travel Dorset. On the trains, now the trains are entering a slight period of turmoil, I think is the best way to say it. There is an amended service between Weymouth and Westbury tomorrow, Sunday. Buses are replacing trains between Yeovil, Pen Mill and Weymouth from yesterday, Friday, through to next Friday, the 3rd of December. Sorry, not through to the following Friday, that is. I think that's actually 2 weeks through to the 3rd of December. There are amended services in the Southampton area and also further bus replacement services in other parts of the local network. On Southwest trains, there's an amended service to London Waterloo all weekend, and between Weymouth and Bournemouth between Monday and Friday this coming week. So do be aware of that. As we move on, there are more works and more bus replacement services, certainly up until the beginning of December. So the message is, check for further details before travelling, because your journey may take significantly longer than it normally would do. Moving to our What's On, advance notice that Sunday the 5th of December, White Regis Christmas Street Fair, White Christmas, will be on in the square, so the top of White Regis will be closed off. If you're interested in a stall, and you haven't already booked one, Kate Weller, who's one of the local councillors, is actually the coordinator. But if you email us here at our news studio, news@whiteregis.tv, we'll put you in touch with Kate, and she'll let you know whether there's space for any stalls and what you need to do. Grand draw tickets will be on sale from this week. Again, if you'd like some grand draw tickets for White Christmas, you can email us at news@whiteregis.tv, or you can pop in to us at 118 High Street, White Regis, where we have tickets available for sale. So that's either email us news@whiteregis.tv, or pop in to 118 High Street, White Regis, and we will have tickets available for you. Shows at Weymouth Pavilion coming up in the next couple of weeks. 20th of November, Mercury and the Ultimate Queen tribute. 25th of November, that'll be the day Christmas show. 28th of November, Fairy Tale of New York. 30th of November, as we mentioned earlier, is the Lions Variety Show. And on the 2nd of December, Dire Straits. So box office number for Weymouth Pavilion is 01305 783 225, or pop along to their website and book tickets online at weymouthpavilion.com. A few things coming up at the Noth. Christmas Elf Hunt on the 27th and 28th of November, and again on the 4th and 5th of December. They have an escape room operating at the Nose on the 27th of November, an artillery firing day on the 28th of November, and Weymouth's Christmas Steampunk festivities on the 4th of December. And on the 20th of December, Picklebottom the Elf is doing a Christmassy show. Pop along to the Nothought website, www.nothought.org.uk, for more details. Again, this week we don't have a film to review. There's no new films coming out yet. And not wanting to repeat things, we've covered all the new films that we're able to cover, but hopefully something will come in this week for us to cover next week. So that really brings us to the end of another programme. They come around quickly and they disappear quickly when we're doing them. But just to remind you that tomorrow, services are at All Saints Church at 8 o'clock and 9:30. The 9:30 will be live streamed, and an 11 o'clock service at St Edmunds. Now, normally on a Saturday night, we have a live quiz programme. This week, there is no live quiz programme online. There is, however, a quiz in the Memorial Hall tonight at 7:30 p.m, which I'm the question master for, and that's why we haven't got one online this evening. There may be a few tickets left. If you would like a ticket for that, or you have a team of 6, do email us really urgently, and we'll see if we can pick them up. The lady that's organising it is a lady called Jane Thomas, and she's selling the tickets. I wouldn't suggest turning up on the door because I know it was getting rather full, but we will try and keep an eye on our emails right up to almost the start of the quiz tonight. And on Friday, don't forget, we have our Year in Gardening with Clive Gray at 7 p.m. So do look in and see what Clive is recommending. We're running the programmes from the end of 2020 as repeats at the moment, and seeing what was happening this time last year in Clive's garden. And don't forget, during the week, if you want to catch up on local events, news run by local people, we've got our local community radio stations of Chesil Radio, Keep 106 and Air 107.2, all there run by volunteers for you, offering a local service for the people of Weymouth, Portland, Dorchester and South Dorset. So there we go, we've come to the end of another programme. I hope you have a good rest of this weekend and the week ahead, and I look forward to being back with you next Saturday at 6 o'clock, when as well our quiz will return online at 7:30. So good night, and I'll see you soon.